Good evening, welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Subhajang Swan. Speculating that a cabinet reshuffle is imminent, the Democrat Party has emphasized their view that PM Yingluck should analyze ministers' qualifications and work ethics rather than focusing on personal benefits. Meanwhile, the opposition raised that the Deputy Agriculture Minister as an example, alleging that he has a conflict of interest. Meanwhile, amid the speculation, the Prime Minister took a day off from her official duties today.
Information on the Thai government website indicates that Prime Minister Yingluck is on leave from official duties today. This morning, the media was informed that the Premier was keeping to herself in her office, which is located in the Thai Kufa building of Government House. Later in the evening, Yingluck was seen discussing policy with the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board before taping her weekly Yingluck Government Meets the People radio program, which is to be aired tomorrow. It was further reported that the Prime Minister has given each and every minister 1 more month to demonstrate their effective performance. Additionally, understanding over the reward of ministerial portfolios has to be reached between political factions in the Pheu Thai party, namely the Red Shirt core leaders and the former defunct Thai Rak Thai party executives. 111 members of the Thai Rak Thai were banned from politics for 5 years and have just become eligible to re-enter politics. There is a possibility of a cabinet reshuffle at the end of July or before the next parliamentary general session, in an effort to polish the government's image and efficiency in case of a central debate. Other sources said that the coalition government has already decided on granting Suwat Liptaphanlop, Sontaya Khonpleum, and Yukhon Lim Lam Thong ministerial positions. Additionally, it is likely that Jaturon Chaisang will assume the role of Education Minister and Somsak Pongpanit may become the Interior Minister. However, it remains unclear if Sukampon Suwanatat will remain the Defense Minister or whether core Red Shirt leader Jatupon Prompan will take up any ministerial portfolio. Meanwhile, Chawanon Intarakomansut, Democrat spokesperson, urged the government to uphold the Ombudsman's advice to pick ministers based on their qualifications and work ethics, especially in the case of Natawut Saigur, Deputy Minister of Agricultural and Cooperatives. Abhisit Wechashiwa, Democrat and opposition leader, also emphasized that any cabinet reshuffle must be made for the benefit of the public, as he still thinks that the current cabinet lineup is riddled with conflicts of interest.
Farmers in Phitsanulok province continue harvesting their crops 1 week earlier than scheduled, as water is streaming down from Sukhothai province and may flood their paddy fields. Despite the government's Bangragam model, including dredging work and water retention areas, which is expected to be completed before July, many farmers believe that floods are imminent. Like farmers of the Bangragam district in Phitsanulok province, their counterparts in the Krailat district of Sukhothai province are also facing floods, as the water level of the nearby Yom River has risen to the point of overflowing. This has prompted the farmers to harvest their half-ripe crops despite having to face financial losses. The local irrigation authorities are also concerned over the continuous increases in water levels. In combating floods, the government is working hard on its Bangragam model, which involves dredging activities and building water retention areas. Meanwhile, the farmers say that their rice fields can also be used for water retention, but the government has to time the increase in the water levels carefully so that they can harvest their crops in time. The government admits that there are still delays in the flood prevention projects in the upstream, middle stream, and downstream areas. The Prime Minister has suggested that heads will roll if any of the high-ranking provincial authorities cannot prevent the floods. The upper northern region is currently of most concern, with many flood prevention projects not likely to be completed before significant floods hit Thailand again. Meanwhile, flooding in the southern province of Surat Thani is easing, but some locals are still not able to return to their homes. And since the Commission for the Management of Road Traffic Office decided to expand the routes of elevated and underground railways from 7 routes to 12, the new urban planning process for Bangkok is trying to ensure that the new residential zones are located along the railways, aiming to reduce car usage. The plan is also rearranging the canal plan in an effort to prevent future flooding. Here's more from Kun Kan Raktam.
The 2011 Severe Plus shot city planning into the limelight, as some residents saw that a number of structures may be significant contributors to the flooding because they are located on the waterways. The new urban designs for Bangkok aim to solve the flood problem by drafting a new canal plan. Nopananta Pananon, chairman of the new urban planning project, explained that the new canal plan includes canal dredging and cutting 12 new canals, 10 in Bangkok's east and 2 in the west. He also revealed that Suvarnabhumi Airport is one of the buildings which are located on a waterway, and it has caused the new urban planning process to rearrange Bangkok's canal plan. The new canal plan will be able to drain water at the rate of 370 cubic meters per second from waterways passing through Bangkok to the Gulf of Thailand. Another major aim of the new urban plan is to reduce carbon dioxide emissions by ensuring residential zones are located along the elevated and underground railways. Premsiri Kasemsan, Director General of the City Planning Department, said that she is very concerned about global warming. So, this new urban plan will encourage a reduction in car use. The new urban planning of Bangkok aims to expand the residential zones along the routes of elevated and underground railways in an effort to reduce car use in Bangkok, one of the world's most densely populated cities. Bangkok City is covered by roads and expressway construction, so the new urban plan aims to enhance Bangkok people's quality of life by encouraging them to use more public transport. Such a change will also help preserve waterways to prevent flooding in the capital city. Kangon Raktam, Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kangon. And in an effort to curb violence among vocational students, parents, teachers, and police will set up joint checkpoints as a short-term solution. Meanwhile, tomorrow, police will issue an arrest warrant for the suspect believed to be the Bus 59 shooter who killed 2 people in the attack. Following Wednesday's shooting by a suspected vocational student, police have checked all closed-circuit TV cameras near the scene and will issue an arrest warrant for the suspected gunman. The suspect attempted to kill a student from a rival institution but ended up also killing an innocent woman on the bus. 2 people died and 2 more were injured in the attack on Bus 59 passing near Don Mueang Airport. Police revealed that at least 8 people were involved in the brawl. Meanwhile, in an effort to curb violence among vocational students in the Don Mueang area, parents and teachers from 7 schools in the area will join hands with the police to set up checkpoints as they fear revenge attacks will lead to more violence. GMM Grammy's representatives will meet with UFA to request a license to broadcast Euro 2012 live via True Visions and other cable operators as well. The decision came following a discussion between GMM Grammy, True Visions, and the Office of Consumer Protection Board, the Department of Special Investigation, and other related agencies. Tomorrow, representatives from Grammy will fly to Europe to ask UFA to reconsider granting True Visions and other interested companies a license to broadcast live Euro 2012 football matches. Paibun Namrongchai Tham, CEO of GMM Grammy, expected a final decision within 3 to 4 days. GMM also announced that it will not collect any copyright fees from True Visions if UFA agrees to extend the latter the licensing rights. If UFA gives True Visions the live broadcast approval, True may have to add a new ad hoc channel to support the games. If UFA vetoes the licensing request and the government or NBTC persist in ordering True Visions to broadcast the football matches, copyrights may be infringed and the entire country's Euro 2012 broadcast may be blacked out. The National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission say this dispute is holding consumers hostage. Supachai Jirawanon, CEO of True, insists that he and his staff are trying their best to find a solution to allow them to broadcast the Euro footy. As compensation, True subscribers will be offered special packages, that is, more channels for an extra month without extra payment. Some NBTC members suggest that True should show responsibility by waiving 1 month's subscription fee. The foreign minister is dismissing allegations that his trip to the United States this week has to negotiate for Thaksin Shinawatra to be granted a visa to enter the U.S. He insists that everything on the agenda was for the benefit of the country. Surapong Towijakchaikun met with U.S. officials, including his American counterpart Hillary Clinton, in Washington, D.C. for the 4th Thai-U.S. Strategic Dialogue. The U.S. Secretary of State has committed to supporting Thailand.
We support the Kingdom of Thailand assuming a greater leadership role in the region, and we look forward to working with Thailand in pursuing our common objectives for maintaining peace and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific.
Humanitarian and military issues are among the top issues on the meeting agenda. Foreign Minister Surapong denied allegations that his talks in the U.S. Capitol were to trade U.S. rights over Utapao Airport in return for the U.S. government granting fugitive and former PM Thaksin Shinawatra a visa to enter the U.S. Burmese protesters gathered in front of the embassy of Myanmar, demanding that their government get tough in suppressing what they refer to as the terrorist Rohingya Bangladesh.
The trouble in the Rakhine state of Myanmar was evident through Buddhist protesters from Myanmar who demonstrated in front of the Myanmar embassy, calling on their government to take tough measures against the stateless Rohingya Muslims. The protesters claim the Rohingya are responsible for the deaths of at least 29 people over the past few weeks. Meanwhile, Wanamwong Win, Myanmar's foreign minister, said the situation in West Myanmar is now back to normal.
What are the government's plans for the security in Rakhine State?
We have taken care of everything. We give priority for the externality of the...
It has been reported that in Sittwe, which is the capital of the Rakhine state, 30,000 people have been displaced and 2,500 homes burnt. The Myanmar government regards Rohingyas as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. Earlier this week, Muslim protesters in various countries were asking the Myanmar government to stop using violence against the Rohingyas. The tensions in Rakhine state are based in both ethnic and religious issues. Hugh Adams, ThaiPBS.
Thank you, Hugh. A newlywed Australian and his Thai wife decided to ride their tandem bicycle across the country in an effort to show the power of their love as well as to promote tourism in Thailand. Paul Hammond and Natli Heman are the newlyweds who decided to spend their honeymoon cycling across Thailand. They arrived in Phuket today and were welcomed by Phuket Tourism Authority staff, since part of their motive for the trip is to promote tourism in Thailand. They began their journey on the 19th of last month, and they have so far cycled through Surat Thani, Pathalung, Songkhla, Pattani, Narathiwat, Yala, Satun, Trang, and of course Phuket.
It's hard work during the day, but at the end of each day after you've done the day, it's very fulfilling. You get to see and smell and feel Thailand as you go through it. Something you miss in a car or a bus or you don't get to feel it. And people are very friendly because we come up on a bicycle and you get to meet more people and interact with more people.
Latli, a tour guide, told the media that she and her husband love cycling, and this trip will allow her to gather first-hand information about the country's tourism hotspots. Next, they are heading to the east, northeast, and north. The entire eco-friendly trip will take them through most provinces in Thailand and will take around 5 months to complete. And that's all the time we have for tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. We'll see you again Monday night. I'm Subhajan Klinsuwan. Swadee krap.